Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Gamers University Podcast. I am your host, Michael Santiago, and today I have a special guest. I have Rick the Bull Veda. Welcome, Rick.
Thank you for having me.
What's going on?
Nothing much. It's just another day, another dollar.
Yeah, I
This.
hear you. I hear you. So let's get into the your nickname, the Bull. How did that even come about?
Oh well. Okay, so a lot of people know I grew up with wrestling. I was a big wrestling kid.
Mm,
We didn't have cable in my house, but when wrestling went to network television, it was on Channel 9. I got to watch SmackDown. And the
okay.
first and the first big wrestling match I watched was with The Rock. It was with The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay, awesome. Oh, I love that rivalry. That was
Right.
one of my favorites. That was when The Rock was the bad guy, right?
No, he had actually changed. So he
Yeah.
was like, yeah, he was the people's champion. Now everybody loved
Oh,
him. This was kind of after he did he was with the corporation. He did all that stuff. So he was like with the fans and he was making jokes and everything. So I started watching wrestling with my brother around that time. And The Rock became like the man for me. He was just like he was an idol, and I followed his career like throughout everything from wrestling to acting to now his businesses and everything. I am just like a huge Rock fan. So the way the so I went through a couple of like nicknames, but the way that particular name came about was
mhm.
I was at work at the time. I was a doorman in New York
Mhm.
City. I was there, and The Rock had released a couple of videos that people were recording him, or he was recording himself, and he would randomly scream at people, "Focus!" So he would scream at people just randomly if they weren't doing the workout, to his intensity or to his liking.
Wow.
But it was just joking around, and he would smile, and he would just keep on working out, and that's how it came about. I said, well, focus like bull. So basically it's paying homage to one of my idols in the
Wow.
world. Yeah. So that's focus like bull, and it kind of just stuck. You know what I'm saying? I
That's
was Yeah, it was like, I'm not good with nicknames, and I'm not good
yeah.
with coming up with like gamer tags and stuff. And this was the
Yeah.
first one I was like really proud of. And I was like, wow.
Also, do you use it for like your gamer tags and stuff like that?
Yeah, so it's my Twitch handle, it's my PlayStation handle, it's my Xbox handle. That's how I go by, and everybody calls me Bull now, so it's kind of just it kind of just stuck with it, and yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's let all the listeners out there know what do you do for a living?
So right now I am a full-time content creator slash Twitch streamer. I've been doing that for about a year and a half consistently. I used to work in the hotel industry, so I've been
Mhm.
working in the hotel industry for I've worked for 11 years in the hotel industry. So I started
Wow.
off as a doorman. Then I went and I climbed the ranks, and then I became a concierge. Then I moved over to Miami, and I became
Wow.
a supervisor for housekeeping. And then I came back, and then I became a front office manager for the hotel that I was just in. So I've had a long career, about 11
Wow.
years working in the hotel industry.
When you worked, I'm assuming New York, was it Manhattan or
Yeah, I was working in Midtown.
Midtown? Okay.
Midtown, yeah.
And how did that end? Like,
So during the height of COVID,
mm,
Midtown, just the hospitality industry as a whole was deeply impacted. It was affected, very
mm,
badly. So
mm,
it started with the international travel, and that's basically the bread and butter of New York City's business. We rely on the international travel, especially in Midtown, because the Broadway shows and the hotel business go very hand in hand. So once the
mm.
international travel stopped, then we started taking a hit, because then Broadway stopped, and
Wow.
then everything just kind of shut down. And a lot of the hotels that I used to work in, a lot of my colleagues, they lost their jobs because the hotels, there was no reason to run the hotel
Wow.
because we weren't getting enough clientele.
Did you do you know if you guys used the hotel at all for like healthcare workers at any point during COVID?
We did actually. For so when it first started was that hotels were looking for a way to basically stop the bleeding of just like financially.
Wow.
We there was so much that the hotels were losing, and they were losing their travel. The restrictions had put such a damper, and it put the hospitality business in such a bad state. So when New York started offering, healthcare workers the opportunity to stay at hotels,
Hmm.
our hotel took that contract. So we had nurses, we had doctors, we had everyone just staying in at the hotel, and they would stay with us. And that was a good portion of our revenue for, I would say, maybe half of the year.
And how was the hotel getting paid? Was it like through the contract with like the state?
Right. So there was a contract that was negotiated between the company or whoever it was, the state entity, and then we that's how the way we were paid. It was
Hmm.
basically through that contract, and depending on the amount of people that were staying at the hotel was what was allotted to the business. So uh, we were staying afloat with that for a while, and then things started changing. And then after all of that, we switched over to DHS
Hmm.
contracts, which is essentially a Department of Homeless Services.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
It must
basic,
have been very difficult working during COVID because, it was very scary time, not knowing like how close you could be in contact with somebody. And then you had to, invite all these like healthcare workers during like the height of the pandemic when they could just, their whole bodies probably covered with germs and stuff like that. And you're supposed to welcome them in. And, it must have been scary for the employees.
absolutely. It had changed so much. It had, a year before, we were welcoming guests who were going to see their first Broadway show. Now we're welcoming
Mm.
a doctor who's worked 24 hours, and his staff has been overworked, and
Mhm.
the ICUs are being just demolished with the amount of people that are going in. And a lot of my staff was scared because,
Mhm.
first of all, everything had closed. New York City was desolate. There was
Yeah.
nobody outside.
Yeah. You could walk
So,
through Times Square, the streets,
and it was the weirdest thing. It was one of the like
like a ghost
most,
town.
yeah. And I had never seen in my, 33 years of living in the
Mhm.
city, I've never seen my city just completely shut down and
Yeah.
barren. There was
Yeah.
nothing. There was nothing,
It was scary.
so
Yeah.
yeah, very scary. So it was just getting, and the trains were empty,
Hmm.
and there was nobody on the trains. There was nobody at the hotel. There was nobody. So you were traveling
Yeah.
at, there's already like there's not a lot of people at night. Imagine everything just shut. There's no one there. You're just in a train car by yourself, like trying to travel
Yep.
uptown to the Bronx or something. And it's just, there was so much that came with, working in the pandemic.
Wow. I actually I stayed at a hotel in Yonkers for about a month. It was like surreal, the experience, because I work in the South Bronx as a nurse, and during COVID you didn't want to like bring stuff home, God forbid. So they offered a place to stay, like a room for yourself. And I was there for like a whole month. I actually remember bringing my PlayStation,
Right.
so I could play games while I was there. I was playing Final Fantasy VII remake
Oh,
a
okay.
lot when I was there at the hotel, and it was like it was like an apartment, just there every
Right.
day. It felt so weird. Um, it was surreal, man. Crazy time.
Yeah, it
Crazy
was.
time.
And my mom works in the hospital.
Mm,
So yeah, she works in a medicine unit, and then the other unit she works is ICU. So I'm worried about also what's going on over there. My mom is
yeah.
in the the hospitality hospital,
Hmm.
and she is working there, and she's seeing things that I'm not seeing. And
Hmm.
it was just so many dynamics to the pandemic, what it meant for everyone who was working it. And it was just one of the most surreal experiences of my life.
Wow. Yeah. So after working in the hotel business, what was the next thing? Like what was your next chapter, I guess?
So when It was weird. So when the pandemic started,
Mhm.
I've always wanted to stream. I've always been interested in streaming. Now, my streaming journey started in 2012, 2013, when
Okay.
streaming started becoming, prominent. And I always wanted to be in the games industry. I just didn't know how to.
Mhm.
I'm not a graphic designer. I don't
Right.
know how to code. I don't know how to do any of that. So it was just kind of like this lofty dream I had, and I'm just like, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, how can I get to something that I don't even know? It's not even tangible for me at the moment. And
Right.
so I started early with Twitch. I try to do it first. I tried to do an Instagram gamer page, right? I had no idea what I was doing. So I had no idea. I still remember the name was Player Two, TOO,
Wow.
Player Two. Yeah. So I started that with a couple of friends, and it just didn't work out. It's just
Mm.
I couldn't. I was still working. I was still in the hotel business. I was still working these weird hours, and I kind of gave it up. 2012, 2013. I said, you know what? This is not for me. I don't know how to grow. And
Mm.
I just said, let me just kind of back away from it. But I'm a gamer for life. Like that,
Right.
that will never change. Uh, but I was just like, I don't know what to do, and I was just seeing things, and I was seeing posts, and I was seeing people streaming. I just didn't have an understanding of what it was or what it entailed or what I had to do to be successful in it.
Mhm.
So I gave it up. I got discouraged. And so let's fast forward. I dabbled in it here and there, but I never took it seriously. Uh, Fast forward to the pandemic. I started my new relationship with my lovely partner, and I told her,
Congrats.
listen, I thank you, and I was like, listen, I'm a gamer. I want to let you know that. So if you want to leave, you can leave now.
Oh,
So,
wow.
no,
Yeah, I
but
mean, hey, you gotta respect that starting off
I say it
with honesty.
jokingly, but
Yeah.
I told her, because I know what gaming entails, and I
Mm.
like to play my video games, and some people might not like that. Some people might feel some type of way, and I was on the forefront because I told her, listen, I love gaming. I used to write in gaming. I used to stream a little bit, and I don't do it anymore.
Mhm.
And she was like, why? It was the first person in my life that kind of questioned me, like,
Mm.
why aren't you doing something that you love? And I'm just, because I don't know how to.
Right.
And as we progressed in our relationship, she was always a force to push me into, like, why aren't you doing this? And I'm just like, so I always had excuses.
Mhm.
It was the reason why I couldn't do it. It's always time, money, resources, everything. And one day I will always remember this conversation. I told her something. We were having a conversation of why I don't stream. I gave an excuse, and I think she had already had it with my excuses. She was just like, and then all she said, she goes, all I'm hearing from you is excuses.
Mhm. Oh, wow.
And I was just like, wait a minute. You don't talk to the bull like
Yeah, right. I'm the bull.
that. I'm the bull. But so when she told me that, it kind of just resonated with me.
Mm.
It struck a chord differently this time. I'm just like, I don't like to be called a quitter or someone who makes excuses.
Right.
I don't like it. And so yeah, so as the pandemic was starting, we got some pandemic money.
Mhm.
So I said, you know what? I think right now is the perfect time for me to venture out and try my hand in streaming. I bought the mic, the camera,
Mhm.
everything. And I've been streaming consistently full time for a year now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you owe a lot of it to your significant other
Yeah,
to get yourself started.
I owe a lot to her. I do owe a lot to her, because
Mhm.
as we get into the conversation of Twitch streaming and streaming in general is very, very strenuous. It's
Mm.
has to be one of the most strenuous things I have ever dealt with,
And what do you
in
mean by
terms
that?
of,
Why so?
because the structure of what Twitch is, and having to put yourself in front of people every day and having to stream content. Now, I always took for granted the alone time that I get with a title. Like I would play Final Fantasy, or I would
Right.
play Gears of War. I had that time, just me and the story and the characters, and I was able to just dive head in first and just lose myself.
Mm-hmm.
Twitch streaming doesn't allow that. You now are streaming for an audience of people who demand your attention, and it's kind of like you're performing every day. You know, you get
Right.
on and you're streaming and you're talking to people and you're conversing about different things and you're dealing with different topics, and you don't really pay attention to the game after a while and you lose all of that. So,
Right.
I took that for granted until I started having 20 people in my chat, 25 people in my chat. Now I have to pay attention to the chat, but I
Right.
also have to play a game at the same time, and really finding the balance of how to make both of them work, and do
Really.
it in a manner that's like, I'm proud of this. And, Twitch is really dependent on your viewership, like partner. You need 75 concurrent viewers to be a partner with Twitch.
So
That's
you said
hard.
75?
Yeah. So you need 75, an average of 75 concurrent viewers over 30 days.
Mm,
It sounds, it's, it's way tougher than it
right.
sounds. It's, imagine trying to get 75 people to go into your chat every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, it must be difficult.
It is very difficult. So it's just something that, uh, and it's tough, because you start dealing with things of, insecurities and what are
Mhm.
you doing wrong? And you start questioning your content. You start questioning, you
Yourself,
know,
I'm sure.
yourself. Exactly. So it's not for the faint of heart. I will never sit
Mhm.
here and tell you this, yeah, you can stream, but after a certain point, it's what are you trying to provide the viewer? Are you trying to provide them entertainment? Are you trying to provide them information? Are you trying to, you know, are you doing a podcast for, gaming walkthroughs or this? Or are you
Mhm.
providing entertainment in terms of making people laugh? And, it's a very, very strenuous, it gets tough. And sometimes, I have a lot of streamer friends who are, up there. They have
Yeah.
the partner and everything. They still deal with those issues. So
Those seem to be like fundamental issues and concerns for everyone in streaming in general.
right,
Um,
right.
no matter how successful or whether you're on the top of the top or the bottom, everyone goes through the same things, it sounds like.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
you're really depending on, if you're doing full-time content creation or streaming, you're depending on those subscribers. You're
Yeah.
depending on those bits, on those donations.
Hmm.
So, I've been blessed to have a community that my I get a decent amount of, support, and there's streamers who I've seen who have started with 2 viewers, and we've
Hmm.
been streaming for a year and they're still on 2 viewers. And it's not easy. It's tough, And as the market and the community becomes saturated, because everyone wants to stream,
Hmm.
everyone wants to be the next Ninja, Nick Merckx, Tim the Tap Man. You want Dr. Disrespect level of fame,
Hmm.
but it's very hard to get into that demographic of just, those. I think Tim the Tap Man, like about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, he went to YouTube. He had over 100,000 viewers.
Wow.
That's tough. That's not something, that, and when you start comparing yourself to the Tim the Tap Mans and the Dr. Disrespects
Right.
and the Ninjas, it becomes skewed. It just, your view
Right.
on it, and you can easily get discouraged with just seeing those numbers.
So what keeps you encouraged, knowing that you don't, let's say, might not have those big numbers like the top streamers have? What keeps you motivated?
My self-determination. I have a very strong drive. I want to succeed, and that's helped me a lot. But really, my community is so supportive, and it's,
Mhm.
whether there's 15 of them, 25, 30, or 40, the level of support that I'd never thought was something that would happen. I never thought that people would come in to a chat every Tuesday or every
Mhm.
Wednesday and shower me with love, support, donations, bits. And it's something that I never thought. I've always wanted to say, I want to get paid for gaming. I want to
Mhm.
game. I want to get paid, right? That's the dream. That's our childhood dreams, are like, I would love to get paid for this.
Yeah, for sure.
Now it's something that it's actually tangible. I can see it, So what can I do now to just keep the momentum going, keep growing, keep making content that's going to be, you know, be reached and like, and liked by everyone and stuff like that. And that's not always, it's not a clear cut thing. It's not something that there's no textbook on it.
Right.
You know, you could watch all these YouTube channels and you could see everyone has a different formula on how to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
There is no formula for it. It's just, you know, I had to change a couple of things, you know, my consistency, my scheduling, being very strict with it. That really helped. But at the end of the day, the community is what drives me. They support me. They give me a hard time most of the time. They make fun of me a lot.
Right.
But it just comes with the territory, and it's something that I just love it. I love it. It became it's addictive. You know, I'm just like, you know, some days I just don't want to. It's socially, you know, exhausting. It's just like, I gotta get back in front of the camera. I gotta get this ready. And then when you're on, things happen. Your internet goes out.
Right.
Last week, my M.2 drive for my computer that's it, burned out.
Oh, it just said that's it. No more, I'm done.
Midstream, I had about 30 people in the stream. And I was doing a collab stream for Hispanic Heritage Month, and it just said, no mas, we finish here. And I was like, why? You know, and luckily I work with I have a good friend of mine who is also a streamer, and he just came over to the house and he said, look, let's fix this, and boom, he made it happen. So, you know, shout out to Fred.
Oh, for sure, man. Everyone needs a Fred.
Yeah, everyone needs a Fred. And I'm glad I have my Fred, because he looked at it, he said, this is what's going on, and that's it. And I was like, so luckily everything, I'm here now. So, because I was like, oh man, I have a podcast on Tuesday, I'm not gonna make it, my computer's done. So he made it work. So
right. So you mentioned Hispanic Heritage Month, which is happening right now. For all the listeners out there, before we started, you gave me your full name and it sounded amazing. You want to give that to the audience?
My name, so everyone calls me Rick or Ricky. So that's, you know, my mom, my dad. But my full name is Ricardo Sepulveda. So my grandparents were from Puerto Rico. My grandmother was from Mayagüez, Huepa. My grandmother's from Mayagüez. My grandfather from Jabucoa. And they came over to the US. They came to New York City. And yeah, I've a lot of people they have problems pronouncing my last name. Like, really? It gets so butchered. Like, sometimes I just don't. Yeah, but yeah, I'm Puerto Rican. I'm New Yorican.
Right?
I'm New Yorican. Yeah, so I have to make sure that I put that.
Boricua. That's right. Awesome. Do you ever are you ever conscious? Well, so like a lot of the stuff on Twitter is talking about how there's not enough Hispanics and Latinos in the gaming industry. It's been a big kind of like topic lately. Have you been conscious of that? Are you aware of that now that you're like in the industry, you're a streamer, you play you're into content? Are you conscious when you're doing that of your like how few Hispanics there are?
Yes, very. I'm on Twitch, but I'm not going to lie and tell you that, you know, they're prominently displaying Latinos, Latinas, Latinx on their page. And I've seen that. And I've been following Twitch. I've been following gaming for a while. I've been following esports and stuff. And there isn't a lot of representation. There's not. And I feel that way, you know. And it is tough, you know, coming from, you know, I'm Latino, you know, a lot of people don't, you know, I'm Latino. I can't, you know, you can't see I'm Latino. I'm just Latino, you know, and just for the mere fact that I don't see, or growing up, I didn't see a lot of, you know, role models, or I didn't see a lot of people that I could aspire to, you know, and that also drives me, because I feel that we have a lot to offer the gaming space. You know, that's all. I'm a gamer, my brother's a gamer, my best friends are gamers. There's a whole demographic that we put into this industry as much as the next. And I feel that, you know, I would like to see more representation for, you know, people of color, like through all of it, you know, because there's so many wonderful people who provide amazing content, but they aren't in the same space as some of the most prominent streamers now. And I just feel that I'm always cognitive of that. I'm
Mhm.
always thinking about, and I'm just like, we need more representation. And it's something that, it does put a damper on it. You want to see, more representation, because there are people in the industry, you have people that are making strides now, but
Mhm.
these are people who've been working in the business for
Yeah.
many
Right.
years. So, now for the up and cut, and now with technology changing, and now that social media and content creation is now becoming a prominent thing, now it's becoming a thing that they're teaching in colleges, and now colleges have esports teams, and now all
Right.
this stuff, some stuff that I would have never imagined that.
Me either.
Never would have imagined that. And I'm just now that it's becoming so prominent, and it's becoming because I grew up in the South Bronx.
Mhm. Oh
I didn't
wow,
have a
I
lot
didn't
of
know that.
resources. Yeah, I didn't have a lot of resources available to me. My
Mm.
first gaming system was a Super Nintendo that my father gave to me. It wasn't, he didn't have like Super Nintendo cartridges was like $85, $90. He didn't
Yeah.
have, the money to just, you know,
Mhm.
put into console and gaming and all
Thank
that
God for
stuff.
Blockbuster and rentals.
Exactly. And
Shout
even
out to
then,
Blockbuster.
it was just like you had a time limit. You had 2 days to enjoy this game. And if not, then so it was just,
Hey.
it's a thing now. And now with a lot of stuff happening in the Twitch community, there was a lot of hate raids not so long ago.
Mhm.
It was just a lot of stuff. It's kind of just like this boiling pot of just things, and it's getting to that point where we're going to need representation
Mm.
eventually, and we need it now. And
Yeah.
it's just, it's a tough space to be in.
It is. It is. But I would say you're in that space, and you're one of you're one of them, and you're starting to you're gonna be like an inspiration for, if you're not already, for the future Latinos and Hispanics growing into the industry. And I wish you the best, and I'm proud of you, and I
Thank
hope
you,
you
thank you.
realize you're in the mix now. You're in the
Right.
game, and congrats, and I wish you well.
I appreciate that. And like now, I had the pleasure of meeting you,
Mhm.
Danny,
Yeah.
Tony, people who I thought I would never ever meet. It was just, I got to meet VGA. I got to meet such amazing
Hmm.
Latinos in the industry and working and making strides. And I want to be there on the forefront, pushing that and being inspiration. And, have when I have my son or have my daughter, that they know that their father did the
Hmm.
most he possibly could to give them a chance in this space. So I
For
do
sure.
appreciate that, and I will continue to push through.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Danny Pena. He's basically changed my life.
Absolutely.
By one person changes someone's life. Big shout outs to him. Tony Polanco, even Paris Lily.
Yes.
These guys have been like big part of like the shift in the industry, and including people of color. And
Right.
blessings to those guys, and women out there that have been helping out. Um, so yeah, so for streaming, before we transition into like games, what do you like the most about streaming?
The unpredictable nature of it.
Mm.
There has been so many times where I was just playing Tales of Arise, and so if you never played it, you get
Never.
like you get these cosmetics. You find them around the world. There's these cosmetics and stuff,
Yeah.
and I was streaming that, and I found like these little funny glasses that made each character's, like it did a silly, face with these eyes that are
Yeah, gave him
squinted,
like
and
big eyes or something like that, right?
right. And that happened on stream. And I was just like, you know what? The idea just came. What if I gave everybody on my party those glasses? So I went into a cutscene the next like 2 minutes, and it was like the funniest cutscene because it was a really serious cutscene. It was like very serious. It was like something that was pivotal to the story. I could
Okay.
not watch
Do
it.
you know the context? What was going on in that
It
scene?
was it was it was something to the extent of, well, they were trying to find a lord, or they're trying to fight a lord, and they've gone to this village, and there's this gentleman who's like he's like the leader, and he's badass. He just doesn't want to hear anything. He doesn't want any outsiders in the world. I get there, and I have these glasses on everyone, and everyone's angry, but they have these glasses on, and it was just a funny experience. And when I stream, it's very unpredictable, because there's so much going on, and then sometimes ideas happen, or sometimes the chat messes with your game through different add-ons and extensions. I played Dead by Daylight, so I I use this app called Dixper, and basically my chat has control of the game. So in mid-game, my screen will flip upside down as I'm playing a multiplayer game and someone's chasing me. So it's just like, and it makes the funniest clips, and it's so it's always moving. You never know what's gonna happen, and that unpredictable nature, just we can have funny moments, we can have sad moments, we could have just outright hilarious moments. And that Tales of Arise one was just one of them, where I'm just like, what did I do? And it's just like the chat is just having fun, and that's why I love it. It's just the chat's having fun. They're forgetting about their days or their daily struggles, or something happened in their house and they want to forget. They tune in, and it's amazing. And I love that part.
That's one of the best things about streaming, being able to just help people just disconnect and just like have some fun, and not focus about the problems they're having in life.
Right.
That's one of the benefits.
Right.
Sure.
And I've had people message me that they've some heavy stuff. People tell me, I was on the brink of depression, or I was on the brink of, stronger things, and your stream stopped that. And and someone messaged me that. It was a long Instagram message, and I was just, and
it's amazing.
Sometimes we take for granted what kind of impact we have on people's lives. And I'm just like, wow, I never would have expected that. It was just, it's not like it happens every day, it's not like so everybody's like, oh my God. But for that person to message me and just pour their heart out, I was just like, it was amazing to see. And I never thought that I would, not that I'm a bad person or anything. I never thought that I could impact a stranger, where they're not strangers anymore. But at that time, I don't know this person. So it's always amazing. It's always unpredictable. And it's a beautiful thing to see when it happens.
Wow, that's awesome, man. I love to hear stuff like that. So we'll get into gaming. Thank you so much for giving us all that about streaming and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing. Now let's talk about games. So you said you grew up in the South Bronx, right? Your first system was SNES?
SNES, yeah.
Okay. Shout outs to Pops, hook you up.
Yeah, shout out to Pops. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't
be here.
System, right? I wouldn't be here.
Literally. So, okay. So, do you remember any games you were into?
Yeah, the first game was Super Mario World. That was the only game I had.
So, like a lot of us. Yeah.
That was the only game I had, and I would play it just on repeat. I loved it. I loved it. Then my dad started buying me more games. Then was Mega Man X.
Ooh.
And then Street Fighter 2. And I was just like, a lot of the heavy hitters, I was like, wow, I spent a lot of time playing these games. I was playing Battletoads and Double Dragon. And that game, I'm telling you, don't ever play that game. That game is tough.
That game is tough. Starting off in that ship or whatever.
And the ship, right. And then
I would get beat up instantly.
You like the first, second boss, like a rat, and he jumps on. It was the worst thing.
You ever hung on the side of the ship, like hanging on and just trying to pass by.
Right, and you kick them off, and so that was like one of my those were like my beginning starter set for gaming, and then my father, then I played Doom, all red cartridge. I was playing Doom, and my father was like, don't tell your mom. And I'm like, okay. So
on the computer, the Doom on the computer,
on the SNES.
Oh, wow.
I had it was a red cartridge. It was red. I remember it. I'm just like, and I played that just ad nauseum, and I wasn't supposed to be playing that, but My
Mhm.
father was like, let him play, it'll be
Mhm.
fine. So, that's how it all started. And so then I went into PlayStation 1 just right
Mhm.
immediately after that
Also, no
because
N64.
I had the N64, but I had the PlayStation 1 first, and
Okay.
then later I got the N64.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how like the baby bull started. It was just it
Just a
was
little,
just with
like
the
a
Super
little
Nintendo.
little bull, not intimidating anybody.
Right, exactly. He
Little
doesn't know
thing.
his way around things and still
Little
asking
pup.
dad to, yeah, still asking dad to, do stages for him. And that's how it kind of started. So that's where my love of gaming really started
Mm.
because my grandmother was very strict. My grandmother didn't like her grandsons or grandkids going outside.
Oh
Because,
wow.
yeah, because my grandmother was strong Puerto Rican abuela from the
Mhm.
Bronx, did not want her grandkids out there. The only reason why you're going outside is for school and then you're coming back. And that's how it was. So gaming was really my escape. I really couldn't do anything because my grandmother was so overprotective of us.
Mhm.
And, you know, now looking at it, she had every reason, to
Mhm.
keep her grandkids out of the streets. But that I really just became just entrapped and engulfed in gaming. So that's when it just started. My love for gaming just started
Wow.
in Abuelita's house in the living room. That's how it started.
That's kind of how mine started too. I mean, my abuela wasn't that strict, but everything was in the house. Like the SNES, I didn't own. It was in my grandmother's house, in abuela's house.
Right.
So I would play with that there. So it was very similar in that sense. And so after PlayStation, what was your first like console that you bought?
The first console that I bought, I think the first console that I bought with my money,
Mhm.
no, I don't even think the GameCube was one of those consoles. I think it was the GameCube. I think it
Mm.
was the GameCube because I bought the GameCube for Resident Evil 4.
Oh wow. I
So I
mean,
bought right.
can't blame me there. Can't blame me
so,
there.
so I had saved up my money and I bought the GameCube. That was
Mhm.
just my money outright. And because I was just like, I saw a Game Informer review on it. This was a preview before Resident Evil 4 had come out.
Mhm.
And like before we got to that I played on PlayStation 1 Resident Evil, the first one, and I was traumatized. And I never played it. My best friend traumatized me because he showed me a picture, that iconic scene when Jill or Chris walks into that
Yep.
hallway and then the
Yep.
zombie is he showed me
Turns
a picture of
around.
just the zombie just looking back, and I'm just like, oh, and I was traumatized. So I never touched Resident Evil after that. But I saw Resident Evil 4 and I was like, this looks so good. I need it in
Mhm.
my life. Then I bought a GameCube. I was like, look, I'm buying a GameCube. I need it. I want it. And that was my first console that I bought with my money.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome, man. So you could I guess you could continue. What was your like next systems and stuff like that? What about like PS2, 3, 4?
I had them. I had them, but I think that
Mhm.
I think everything started changing again because I would play, but it wasn't to the point of being like I became an addict at a certain point. I do
Mm.
call that my addict years because I was playing while I was going to college. So I had all the time in the world. I was addictive. Like I was just like, oh my God.
Mhm.
I didn't get into that level of love for the gaming until the Xbox 360. So
Oh,
I didn't have Xbox. I skipped
okay.
the Xbox. So I didn't enjoy the Halo and all of that. Everybody was
Ouch.
hyped for it. I know, right? So it was just like because we
Hurts my
didn't
heart to
right.
hear.
My mom was, my mom was working full time, and she was putting us through private school.
Mm,
So a lot of this money couldn't go into systems. My
right.
mom couldn't do it, and she was not only putting me through school, she was putting my brother through school as well.
Mhm.
So I had to miss out like on the Xbox generation, that year of just I would play at my friend's house, but it was never the same. Like going
Mhm.
to your friend's house who has the console and you don't have it, it's
Yeah,
not the same,
it's not the same.
you can't enjoy that. But I became really heavy into Xbox 360. And it was because during an E3 show, Cliff Blazinski went on Epic Games and he
Mhm.
just was announcing or he was showing off a tech demo for Gears of War.
Yeah.
That's it.
Man,
I
that's
fell
it
in
right there.
love. That's what it was. And Gears of War is one of like my most all-time favorite franchises till
Mhm.
this day. I was in love with just that world, that character. Marcus Phoenix was the badass I thought I was, and I know
Yeah.
I wasn't, but he was that. And it was just a band of brothers, and I had, me and my best friends would play it, and it was just so. I stood outside GameStop on a line waiting for these games. That's how I knew that this
Nice.
was like, this is, I want this. I need this in my life.
Yeah.
So that's when I became, because I got really into multiplayer. So I got really into the Gears of War multiplayer. I really liked the whole brutality of it. It was just like in your face. It was
Mhm.
fast. It kind of reminds me of football. I love
Yeah.
football, but I would watch Gears of War. It reminds me of that. You're just running in, and it's just you're trying to, and I just love that. I love the intensity of it. I just love like the world that it built. And Marcus Phoenix was just kind of like, hey, Dom Baird, and he was like, I'm like, yeah, I like that guy. He's freaking cool. I want to be like, I want to be just like him. So I really got into gaming really, really heavy like that during the Xbox 360 years,
Mhm.
and I was
So,
just like in love.
wow. So what are you currently playing? Like what systems do you currently have?
Well, right now I have the PS5, the Xbox Series X, the
Ooh.
Switch,
Oh,
and I have my
sweet.
PC.
Wow. Oh, so everything basically.
I have everything,
All the above.
all of
You
the
could
above.
just say, I have everything.
Yeah.
Just real modest, like, oh, you name it, I got
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So that's what I'm currently working with now.
Wow. So you went from the SNES from Pops to don't worry, Dad. I got this.
Yeah, I got it. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it from
Did you
here
have
on.
any difficulties getting these systems, the Series X and the PS5?
PS5 was because I was doing a podcast with my friend, and that's when Walmart decided to say, "Hey guys, it's going live today." Nobody was ready for it, and
Wow.
I've been waiting for the PS5. It
Mhm.
was just like we watched Sony's press conference, and then Jim Ryan was like, "Oh well, it's available today." I was like, "Come on, dude, really?" Like,
They were trying
so
to avoid the bots, right? And stuff like that.
but still, and I was
Mhm.
just, it was already 9 o'clock. I was already spent. I went to Best Buy, I went to Walmart, I went to all these places because then when Walmart released it, then everybody else started, going live with their pre-orders. So literally, Michael, I went to bed. I gave up. I said, you know what?
Mhm.
This is not for me. I can't do it. I went to sleep. I woke up for some reason to use the bathroom at 3:30, 3:35. I said, you know what? Let me go to Twitter and let me just check, see if it's Best Buy had just gone live. At the time that I woke up, I went to Best Buy, I
Wow.
pre-ordered it, and that's it. That was
Yeah.
all she wrote. And I was just like, oh my. If I hadn't woken up, I would have gotten it. So
Nice, nice.
it worked. It worked for whatever reason. So the PS5 was the only one. Xbox Series X, my partner
Mm,
bought that for me. But it was a little difficult. Amazon, we got it from Amazon, kept
mhm.
crashing and then go up and then kept crashing. And eventually we were able to get our hands on it.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, that's awesome. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, so like when you're streaming, what kind of games are you streaming? Anything specific? Any genres or?
So my community likes to see me scared. They like the jump scares or whatever. So I
Oh
primarily
man,
do horror. I don't like to label myself a horror streamer, but
yeah.
I do a lot of horror. 90% of my stuff is horror. And then
Mhm.
I'll go and play other things when, if I need a little break from the monotony, or if one of my games that has become successful is Dead by Daylight. I don't know if you ever played Dead by Daylight.
No, I haven't. I know of it though, but I have
Yeah.
never played
So,
it.
so it's like an asymmetrical kind of game. One
Mhm.
person plays the killer, and then four other people play survivors. And then you have these generators
Oh.
literally across the map. You have to finish 5 generators, and then like the main door opens. Then you have to open the main door, and then you escape. So
Ah,
easier said
really?
than done because teamwork is not always there. Sometimes you get lost. The
Right.
maps are very intricate sometimes. Sometimes
Mm.
you're in an open field. Sometimes you're in Silent Hill Elementary School. Sometimes you're in Raccoon City PD. So the thing about Dead by Daylight is that they have integrated and have done so many crossovers. So they had a Stranger Things right now.
Wow.
Hellraiser is one of the killers.
Oof.
Michael Myers, Freddy. You got the big names in horror. They're there.
Really?
Yeah. So it's a really, I like the game. It does get frustrating because sometimes, so basically the killer walks around and not only does he have to down you or knock you out, but he
Mhm.
has to hook you on this like meat hook. and
Wow.
and your team has a certain amount of time to save you from that hook. And then you get like 2, 3 chances. And then if you don't make it on the third chance, you get lifted up by some kind of entity and that's it. Then you're gone for the game. Yeah, it's over. Like
Wow. Do you ever play the killer? You're always playing the like escapee.
yeah, I always do Survivor. I like playing a
Mm.
Survivor because I play with a good team of people. So our interactions, it just it produces comedy. So I'm just like, I like it. I don't really do the killer because I will get frustrated. I know I will because they're gonna escape because I suck at killer. I'm not
Mhm.
good at it. So it's it's fun. It's fun. Either if you're gonna play killer, if you're gonna play survivor, especially when you're playing with friends, it's so
Mhm.
much fun. You get to, coordinate teamwork. Someone will, distract the killer while everybody's working on generators, and then you hear the
Right.
escape gong, and you gotta like run over there, and then
Uh,
so it's one of my go-to streaming
mhm.
titles. But I stream all types of horror. I've done VR horror on the Oculus. I have an
Oh wow.
Oculus too.
Oh, nice.
I've done like Blair Witch Project. I've done
Mhm.
Five Nights at Freddy's. I've done Pacify. So many different. I like the indie titles because the indie titles they like to experiment and try different things.
Mhm.
I played Visage. Well, I didn't complete Visage.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of games out there that, not all of them are great. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every game is going to get you scared because sometimes it's just a flop. But yeah, I've played so many, like I can't even tell you, like I have so many horror games that I've played over my time during my
Mhm.
streaming journey.
So is that your favorite genre, or is that just not your most successful for streaming, but like but something along those lines? Is it your favorite genre?
I do love horror movies. That's my thing. I love horror movies. I love
Mhm.
zombie movies in particular. I love
Nice.
them. My partner does not. she doesn't like the
Ah,
she doesn't like scary movies too much. I do love them. I've watched scary movies from Halloween, Freddy, Jason. I've done all that. My dad was a big movie buff, so I was just watching everything with him. So as I've
nice.
gotten older, I always like to watch my horror movies, whether they're good or not. When that's not here, but
Mhm.
I, I've translated that love for horror into my streaming, and it's not. I want to say my channel is just primarily that, but it's
Mhm.
a good portion of it. I've always loved horror. I love Resident Evils. I love the Left 4 Dead. That's another one that I can't wait for. Back for Blood. I can't
Yeah.
wait. I can't wait
It's
for
coming
that.
out soon, right?
Yeah, it's coming out soon on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass,
Mhm. Shout out
but
to Game Pass. I
yeah,
love Game Pass, man.
yeah, Game Pass has
Netflix of
gotten me out of
gaming.
right. It's got me out of some hairy situations, and yeah. So I've taken that love, everything zombie, ghost,
Mhm.
paranormal, especially the paranormal stuff. I love the paranormal stuff. When they do it right. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, you've seen it, same trope, same stuff, but I've taken all of that and just applied it to my streaming as best as I can. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but
That's cool. That's cool, man. So any like so if you had like do you have a favorite game? Do you have a favorite franchise that you want to share? Like what's your favorite?
I have so many, but
Mm.
I'm gonna advocate for this because this is for Fred because he always gets mad. I There's gonna be a hot take.
Mhm.
I love Death Stranding. I love that game.
Wow.
I love that game. I love Death Stranding, and
Really?
it's not everybody's cup of tea. It's
Mhm.
not. It wasn't my cup of tea, and it was one of the big games that I played during the pandemic for some
Mm.
reason. And it was because I was playing it. My partner was heavily invested in it. She was watching the story, and I'm just like, and I became so heavy because it's a slow. I've always loved
Like a
Hideo
slow
Kojima.
burn?
It is a slow burn, because a lot of the stuff doesn't become open, like the travel, the traversal, the machines and stuff to help you go along faster. But essentially, you work for Amazon. You're just
Mm.
delivering packages to this barren, lost world, and you're literally the only thing that keeps everything connected. and it could be rations, sneakers, stuff like that, just normal run-of-the-mill day-to-day stuff. And I became so wrapped into that game. And the story is complicated. Like, I had to go to YouTube to get somebody to, what did I just watch? Because
Oh wow.
it is, because it's just because they throw a lot of new like words, things that they've created, things that Hideo Kojima made.
Wow.
Like, all these animals and things that you have to kind of like, okay, and the blood and the plasma and how it works in conjunction with the word. And I'm just like, I can't do it.
Wow.
And that's why I gave it up. But listen, I will always vouch for that game. I love it. I love it. I'm really right now fighting if I'm going to buy the director's cut, because I'm just
awesome.
Yeah,
man.
it comes out the 24th, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, but I love a Death Stranding. And Hideo Kojima, just Metal Gear Solid. I love his brain. I love how it works. It's just it gets so out there, and it's just like, I played Metal Gear Solid when I was younger. When I played it now, I'm just like, wow, these are very like out there kind of stuff.
Metal Gear was wild, man. Like, when I remember, I will never forget when you were playing that boss, and I think it was in the first one or the second one, I think it was the first one, we had to change the controller.
Psycho Mantis. Yeah.
Oh my god, Psycho Mantis. Who thinks of that?
He did.
Yeah. And I think it was by chance. I was like, let me just try that. I don't know what they said. I don't know how they hinted at it, but I was like, let me just try switching it to controller 2. Oh my god, I can't believe that worked.
It was so wild. It was so great. And it was just, I'm just like, I love Hideo Kojima. And I know like, people have, that, I think with Metal Gear Solid 4 was Guns of the Patriots, it was like mostly cutscenes and not enough gameplay. But I love that he takes so many risks with his franchises, and he does so many things that just kind of change it up. A lot of people don't like Death Stranding. I think I'm like the only person and a couple other more people who are standing on this hill defending Death Stranding, because it's just
strong.
Because,
nothing wrong with that.
I just love the story, and what I think I understand of it.
You could be way off too.
Right. I could be like, but that's the beauty of it. I just think that's what makes it wonderful. And I will always listen. I will like delivering packages. Maybe in my past life I was an Amazon delivery driver or something, but I will always push for Death Stranding. So if you haven't tried it, I think you should, try it.
Yeah, I've never played it.
You should definitely, but I have like my favorite franchise is Gears of War. That was another one. I bought every Gears of War title. I still am waiting. I still have, because when I got into Gears of War, I was in college, I was with my friends. So it brings me back to a different time. When I used to spend, hours on end. I would get home from school, and then we would start at 7, wouldn't finish till 3 a.m. And then I had class at 8 the next morning. So you can imagine how like my first class was. It was rough.
Yeah, Gears in college was did not help my grades.
Yeah, exactly. Like at all. And I was just all about it. I was achievement hunting. I was looking for every achievement. And it was like 1,000 headshots and multiplayer. And it was just, oh my God, like so much gear. So sometimes I don't understand the Halo. Like, I know there's some Halo fanatics out there. I like Halo. I do a lot, but it doesn't resonate with me the way Gears of War has resonated with me. Yeah. Because I missed that little piece of Xbox history.
The beginning.
I wasn't part of it.
I am one of those like Halo has a a big piece of my heart, because the Xbox was the one that I purchased first. That was my first console for Halo. With my own money, I was so happy. I remember bringing it home. I think I got it from GameStop in East Harlem, and I'm bringing it home and plugging it in only for the one game that I had for like a year was just that one Halo 1. And so it definitely holds dear to my heart. But Gears in college, that was great too, man.
It was.
Halo Microsoft had a lot of good like multiplayer games.
Yeah, and it was just I wasn't into multiplayer games, and that's what really did it for me. It was that. It was the Gears of
Mhm.
War, and I remember when I got the Ring of Death. I got the red
Oof,
ring of death.
me too, man. That's
That was like
that
the
sucked.
roughest 2 weeks of my life because I was just on multiplayer all the time. And just like, you know, it got to the point, Michael, that
Mhm.
I remember I was in college and I was sitting with a couple of my friends, and my friends, we would start talking to each other in our gamer tags. And I think one of my gamer tag at the time was Big Boss. So they would call me Boss. And I
Yeah.
would call my friend, whatever his name was, Killer something. And the other guy was Berserk something. And we would just like talk to each other like that. And somebody on the table adjacent from us was
Uh-huh.
like, he looked at me. He goes, what you said? And I said, he said, what they called you? I said, Big Boss. He goes, oh, I'm transplant. So there was these guys that we used to fight with every night, Michael. Every night we would
Wow.
have these just really. The guy went to my school. He was literally sitting like two tables away
What?
from my, and I was like, what? So I was just like, we just got kind of like, his name was Transplant. It was a whole
Mhm.
bunch of them. It was like
Transplant.
Transplant
Because after
X,
I'm done with you,
Transplant.
you're gonna need a transplant.
It was like Transplant 320, Transplant X5, Transplant. It was like a whole, like,
Oh,
that's when the
wow.
clans were big. Clans were like
Yeah,
the thing.
clans. Wow.
MLG and all that stuff. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just like the clan wars and all this stuff and signing up to, I'm like,
Yep.
and it was it was like one of the best times in my gaming
It,
life.
it really was, man. Uh, we both, yeah, those are awesome times, man. Awesome times. I Rick, that was so much fun, man. Learning about streaming and stuff like that, and took getting a chance to talk to you. It was awesome. Thank you so much for doing this, man.
Thank you for having me. And whenever you want to have me again, I would love to talk to you about more stuff. It's
Yeah,
definitely,
definitely, man. We
it,
definitely have to do it again, man.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
before we end, this is your time to shine. Let the people know where they could find you, and stuff like that.
All
The
right.
floor is
So,
yours.
okay. So I'm Focus Like Bull on Twitch. I stream every Tuesday to Friday from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. You can catch me there. That's also my Twitter handle as well, Focus Like Bull. I'm
Mhm.
there usually posting nonsense. So if you want to join me and reveling and laughing at my nonsense, it's always in good fun. But definitely you can catch me there. And also my Instagram is the same handle, Focus Like Bull. And I just post YouTube content there as well, and my YouTube channel, Focus Like Bull. You can catch me there. Welcome to the bullpen. That's our little logo. That's a little
Hey, I
slogan.
like it.
Yeah. So if you guys,
Actually, I love it. I love it.
yeah. My
I
friend was like,
love
"Oh, but
that.
you don't have anything with baseballs in it." Like, don't worry about it. It's just it goes with it. Just
Yeah,
just just
yeah,
go with it.
yeah. Come on, come
It
on.
doesn't matter. We'll deal with
You
all that
messing it
later.
up. You messing up for me.
So yeah, you can definitely catch me
Yeah.
either one. I'm always online. I'm creating content for YouTube too, and I'm always streaming. So you can definitely catch me there.
That's awesome, man. I wish you well. We need more streamers like us, like Hispanic and Latino out there. Shout outs to everyone on the rise out there, like VGS, I mean VGA, you said, right?
Yeah.
Video game amateurs, people like that. Shout outs to them. And I wish you the best. And I would love to like play something with you. Dead by Daylight, is that
It's
PlayStation
crossplay.
or Xbox?
It's crossplay. So there's no excuse, Michael, for you
Okay.
not to play some Dead by Daylight with me. And we
Okay.
can even do it on stream, and I can bring you into the world. It's
Okay.
crossplay, but I play everything else as well. So if you're not a Dead by Daylight guy, I won't judge you, but I can always play something with you at any time.
Oh, awesome, man. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, man.
Definitely, man. Thank you so much again. And everyone out there listening. I lately I've been like looking at the downloads, and I have like 5 different countries. No, I'm sorry, 5 different continents. Asia, Europe, Australia, South America. People are downloading this podcast. Shout outs to everyone out there downloading. It's amazing how something like this could reach, places that I've never even been. You know what I mean? Japan, Belgium. Shout outs to everybody there, and I really appreciate you being here with me today, Rick. And with that, I just want to end by saying stay true to yourself and embrace your inner gamer. Peace.
See you later.
All right. Stop the recording.